Well, um, that didn't take long. Yes, once again, it seems pride cometh before the fall, and the fall cometh before the immediate backtrack. Hello, ladies, men, and non-binary friends. Welcome back. I'm gonna call this the Happy Pancake Update. This video is only 3.5 minutes. I recommend you watch it, but I will give you the gist. We'll go through the comments, and I will share my thoughts on this recent revelation as well. They start by apologizing and thanking their audience for getting them to where they are. Shane and Ryan do most of the talking here. Instead of exclusively releasing their content on the Watcher site, they will be releasing it on the Watcher site, and then 1 month later, they will be releasing it on YouTube for free. So you can still watch it for free, but there will be a month delay from the time it's been released on the Watcher site. They're also going to give their current patrons a free subscription, which they should have done in the first place, but I will get to that later. So if you're a current patron, you will also get access to the site in your Patreon sub. I really hope you guys can't hear that, but there is someone weed whacking outside of my apartment. For anyone that is a patron and has already paid for the Watcher site, they said that they will be giving you a refund for your Watcher subscription, now that it is included. They also said that anyone that feels dissatisfied by this situation can also get a refund. For example, if the only reason you subscribed to the Watcher site was because you didn't think their content was ever going to be on YouTube, and now you're like, oh, well, it's just going to be on YouTube a month later, I want my money back, you can do that. You just have to send them an email. The initial vibe in the comment section is very positive, which is pretty typical for most apologies. The language and the vibes that they gave off in this video was very PR, very calculated, very lawyery. I'm sure they were scared shitless filming this. They clearly saw the immediate backlash and realized, oh shit, we could lose everything here. And most of the comments under the video are pretty positive. Now that sounds like a more sustainable model. Make it an opt-in. If you have the means and want to support us further thing, not a pay money or you'll never see us again kind of thing. While it is hilarious that they had to pull together this video so quickly, I am acknowledging that it takes balls to come and say, yeah, we fucked up, here's how we're gonna fix it. Thank you guys for apologizing for your insensitive comments and for making changes. This has to be one of the few times where creators have went back on the paywall, especially this quick. Huge respect for actually listening. They actually listened and I'm so grateful for it. This model is more sustainable and accessible for the people. Damage has been done, but accountability was taken. Honestly, the fact that it's now optional makes me feel much better about the possibility of giving you money. I always wanted to support you, I just didn't want to be extorted. But there's also critique and criticism too. We hope you'll be patient with us through these mistakes. Bro, we're all just baffled how you made these mistakes in the first place. The damage you have done to your image will really affect you going forward. I can't see you guys the same anymore, and I know many people believe you've shown your true faces with your original decision. I wish you the best, but now you know what you've done. Perhaps it's a smarter move to take the office to a more rural area instead of literally by the Hollywood sign. If you guys gotta cut costs, look within before putting a burden on your audience, but taking time to address the criticism will have many people willing to purchase the subscriptions in good faith. It's the funniest thing to me that their Patreon already existed at nearly the same price and we already got content early through it. This whole thing could have been avoided if they just upped Patreon price by $1, released ad-free content a month early rather than a day early, and advertised it more on their YouTube channel. Plus, Patreon has a comment section so the community would be more engaged and still discuss new episodes as they come out. This is definitely an improvement, but please keep in mind we're totally okay with downscaled production and less expensive shows. If you're not making enough money to fund your productions with a Patreon, YouTube ads, merch, and now a streaming service, then it's not a question of how to make more money, but of how to spend less, because no one watches you for the fancy effects and intros. We watch because we like you guys. Regardless, best of luck. Why does it feel like this video was made at gunpoint? Good steps towards change, still leaves a bad taste in my mouth though. I hope you guys earn my trust back. Insane that this wasn't the first finalized idea and it took them tarnishing their reputation and alienating their fan base to get there. Someone suggested an idea for Steven's show Worth It, where instead of traveling the world to try the most expensive dishes, they travel to support smaller, local restaurants that are family-owned or struggling to sustain themselves. I would absolutely be willing to pay $6 to see them support small businesses instead of using our money to make rich businesses even more distinguishingly rich. I don't want to watch Steven eat caviar, but I would respect him a whole lot more and actually be willing to watch Worth It if he put our money towards something meaningful that helps others. An overwhelming amount of responses were addressing watchers' desire to move towards higher production value as well. Petition to bring back the blue and yellow writing on a black screen. In this social media hellscape, we as an audience do not like the high budget production and paywall bullshit. We like you guys for being real, scrappy, and funny. Good choice to go back on this decision. Just please remember, the audience is here for you guys and not the quote high budget production. I don't care for the quote high quality. All I care is seeing these guys and their shenanigans here on YouTube. Glad to hear I'll still be able to see you guys on here. Looking forward to what's to come for your channel. I made a video about this on my TikTok as well. And the comments there were not as forgiving. I can't wait for them to be roasted like hell during their show in Glasgow. Good update, but will probably negatively affect their audience for a long time. Definitely broken my trust in them, not resubscribing until they prove they won't pull this again. LOL, they clearly haven't slept all weekend and it serves them right. I'm feeling quite burned, so it'll take more for me to subscribe. Happy they owned up. They need to, unfortunately, lay off some employees, cut production costs back, and just be smarter with money if they are, quote, struggling. Not a business person, but think it's common sense? Their fault for overhiring, TBH. Maybe move out of LA? They're not sorry. They're sorry there's so much backlash. I think I'm the let's see how this goes, because if you walk it back only after you see consequences, are you really sorry? The parallels to the Try Guys video thumbnail is what is eating me. I understand different situations and different vibes, but the loom of it and aesthetic gives me a weird feeling. I imagine they will get a negative wave of comments over the next few days and it will even out a bit, but I do think aside from canceling the streaming service altogether and just moving their operation to Patreon, which they would never do because they would sink the cost of the site build, this was probably the best response they could have come up with given the situation. They shouldn't have done this to begin with, but now that we're here. Okay, let's dig into my thoughts. I think it's fucking crazy that they didn't include any sort of discount or, free subscription to their current Patreon members on this initial announcement. Because why the fuck would anybody want to pay on two different platforms for a single creator? That is so fucking asinine. I didn't say this in my last video, but $5 as your starting tier on Patreon is fucking wild. My Patreon starts at $2 a month because I'm just trying to keep my fucking lights on. Link in the description if you're interested. They mentioned in the video that they struggled to stay relevant to ad companies, and I don't really believe this. They have an incredibly healthy channel with 3 million subs and around 1 million views on most of their videos, so I call bullshit on this. Penguin Zero talked about this in his video as well, but they aren't edgy content. They're pretty wholesome and mild, all things considered, so I don't think their content would be limited very much by what advertisers are looking for. In fact, they're kind of like one of the few perfect specimens left on YouTube in terms of good advertiser content. I really think they need to bring in some sort of financial advisor or accountant because I don't know how they're making so much money from their AdSense sponsors, live shows, merch, Patreon, and they're still worried about money. I feel like there's more going on here than what they're telling us, and that gives me pause. That makes me suspicious. They really seem to want to move to more high-budget productions despite the intense pushback from their audience, which makes me think that they don't actually want to sustain the current watcher audience. And what I mean by that is they seem to want to transition into being serious filmmakers and are using Watcher as a jumping off point or portfolio builder as if that will legitimize them in Hollywood or something. And okay, fine, follow your dreams, I guess, but the Watcher fan base clearly doesn't want that, as they've told you outright many, many times. They've made clear that they enjoyed the show the most when it was more low-key. So if high production TV quality is what you're working towards, they probably won't support you forever. And as they drop off, you can't just keep upcharging your remaining audience, otherwise you won't have anyone left. There's this idea that you need elevated production to create better content, to get more views, and to have a more enjoyable audience experience. Adding too much production can actually take away the authenticity that people fell in love with to begin with. I've seen YouTubers go through this so many times where they add a new camera, they pretty up their background, and they become less relatable. It seems more cold and out of touch. It doesn't have that homey vibe that YouTube lends itself to. The reason why YouTube has flourished and has continued to flourish is because it is decidedly not television. There will always be a place for sitting in a room and talking to the camera like you're talking to your friends. And I just think it's important to remember that. One of the things I would really like to see them fix or address in the future is establishing closed captions on their streaming service, which they currently do not have. And of course, this is limiting to anyone in their audience who is deaf or hard of hearing, or just people who like watching things with captions. I prefer to watch things with captions. My partner is neurodivergent. He has ADHD and also really appreciates having captions because sometimes he gets distracted. Also, they still don't have a mobile app or a TV app to stream this service through. In order to stream this, It's currently only available on desktop browser, so you would have to watch it on your laptop or computer setup, which seems like a massive oversight. Like, you're making a streaming service. Shouldn't an app be, like, the first thing you establish? Like, how many people are actually watching on their laptops and desktops? If I were a Watcher fan, I would approach this next chapter with caution. Keep an eye out for any future signs of money grubbing. Keep watching if you really want to, but just be on the lookout, you know? I feel like these men are on probation for a bit. We're watching you. And regardless of how you felt about this apology, we can all agree that this situation proved the true power of an audience. Never forget that. It's in your hands. Never forget that. It's in your hands. So let me know what you think. And as always, feel free to vent and or leave your grievances below. I'm always here for some commiseration. So let me know what you think. And as always, feel free to rant or vent or leave your grievances below. I'm always here for commiseration. If you enjoyed this update or you learned something, make sure to like and subscribe, because we do some really serious research here and it takes time and effort, and I appreciate your patronage. Even if you were just here to give me a view, I appreciate you. Ooh. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Bye.